Anyone who has slept with the school beauty knows, you must never touch the money on the table. Because that's the sponsorship fee. She is definitely just a plaything for some second-generation rich. I know you love me. I only wear a green hat for fear of catching a cold. Looking at the text messages he sent to the school beauty, Lin Fan suddenly had tears in his eyes. Licking dog. But because he had spent 100,000 years in the alien world, now he's finally reborn on Earth. Initially Lin Qianqian attached herself to the wealthy second-generation Zhang Kuang, and then she kicked out Lin Fan. They never expected that Lin Qianqian was actually carrying Lin Fan's child. Reckless Zhang, who knows the truth, hired someone to kill Lin Fan. After death, Lin Fan arrived in a different world, luckily obtained the 9 Heavens Divine Stone, suddenly reached the peak of the Divine Lord and dominated the different world for 1,000 years. But during a tribulation, he tragically suffered a backlash from his inner demons, resulting in the complete destruction of his body. But he didn't deserve it. His remaining soul defied the heavens and changed destiny, turning back time and returning to Earth. He not only returned to the starting point, but more importantly, the 9 Heavens Divine Stone was also brought back. At this time, Lin Qianqian is sticking with Zhang Kuang. Suddenly, Lin Fan opened the door. You can just give up on me. You are not even worthy of me. This 30,000 is a reward from Brother Kuang to you. Get as far away as possible in the future. After saying that, he showed off the diamond ring and sent it arrogantly, thinking about the past few years. It's really not worth it, Lin Fan sneered. We should depart amicably. Why embarrass me in front of everyone? He immediately flew into a rage. You trash? How dare you talk to Qianqian like that? Apologize right now. Hearing the commotion, the black bodyguard hurriedly rushed over. Kid, did you hear that? My boss wants you to apologize, Lin Fan just murmured. Wish you never find peace from now on. Then he walked away. Zhang Kuang gestured. The bodyguard understood immediately. Block Lin Fan's way. Now kneel down and lick my shoes clean. Maybe I'll be in a good mood. I can still let you go, Lin Fan said coldly. I didn't want to argue with you at all. What's the point? Zhang Kuang chuckled. And then use the dirt on your neck. Sticking out leg and staring eye. That's the essence of Laozi's body. Now I'm giving you a chance to eat it. Ling Qiqi stood on bird clapping and cheering. Good job, husband. Lin Fan's hands are tightly clenched, and then quickly released. Logic dictates that I should indeed teach you all a lesson, but now I've changed my mind, because I found out that you're not even worthy of me lifting a finger. The bodyguard couldn't take it anymore. I advise you to kneel down obediently. The next second, Lin Fan's pupils changed from black to red in a warm manner. Do you want to die? Witnessing the terrifying pressure he unleashed, the black bodyguard kept retreating in fear, but Lin Sisi was disdainful of it. Zhang Xiao, do you see how arrogant he is? Furious, Zhang Kuang stood up and pointed at Lin Fan. Stop right there, kid. Today, I'll make you pay for it here. But the next second, he stepped on his own foot, and stumbled, falling flat on his face. And that leg-stretching, eyes-popping pill fell into Lindsay's mouth, causing her legs to tighten suddenly, and kneel to the ground, making a gagging gesture. He didn't even look at her once, and left the hotel directly. After all, he has no cultivation now. The most urgent thing is to practice cultivation diligently. Since he has a second life, he is determined to surpass the achievements of his past life. Standing at the peak of this vast universe, Lin Fan then passed by a pharmacy, and used the pocket money he had saved for 2.5 years, to buy herbal medicine, because his sister has been weak and sickly for years, suffering from tuberculosis. In his past life, his biggest regret was watching helplessly as his sister died of illness. Now, all he needs is a poem by Hishuibua. With the 9 Heavens Divine Stone, one can guide and transform true qi to completely cure his sister's long-standing illness. But when Lin Fan returned home, he found a group of ruffians blocking the door. Lin Fan immediately shouted, "What are you doing?" Upon hearing this familiar voice, Lin Xiaodai hastily rushed out of the door, and threw herself into his arms, looking pitiful. The young thug had a disdainful look on his face. Who did he think he was? So it was you, this useless person. Lin Fan slowly turned around. In this world, no one dares to bully my sister yet. He's filled with overwhelming murderous intent, like the devil reincarnated. The hoodlum stares in astonishment, mouthed the Geki. You dare to scare me? Xingran says so. But the body is very honest. Lin Fan is about to take action. The hooligan clenches his teeth. Do you really think you look fierce? You think you can scare me? I warned you before to move out within a week. Hearing this, Lin Fan suddenly remembered that this house was his parents' wedding house. Now Zhang Kuangjia wants to develop this place. So, he took the opportunity to find a few hooligans to come and make trouble from time to time. He wants to use low-price demolition compensation to demolish the houses. Just as he was about to go on a killing spree, his little sister grabbed his hand and said, "Brother, let's forget it. We can't beat them." Lin Fan patted his sister's head. "Don't be afraid. That bald guy, how dare he bully you?" Lin Xiaodai blushed immediately. "He wants to take my clothes off, but failed. Touched my bottom." Lin Fan was thoroughly angry, and in the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the bald man, then hold on to his head, and hammered down a heavy blow. Thud. When finishes with a kick, disabling the bald guy's arm. This is not over yet. Lin Fan suddenly lifted the bald man up. He was about to knock out his front teeth. The bald man knelt down in fear and begged for mercy. "Big brother, I was wrong. Please spare me." All his men stayed put. I've never seen the boss so angry. Roll. Then turned and went back to the room. "Little sister, you haven't been to school for a few days?" Lin Xiaodai coughed violently. Zhou didn't go either. She has been very sick these days. Upon hearing this, Lin Fan felt deeply guilty. My sister was very sick in a previous life, but he neglected her. He was entangled with Lin Xianqian every day, and now, it's a fault. Brother's gone to get medicine for you. Look, this is a rare bird. Lin Xiaodai asked, puzzled. What's the use of it? With a light smile from Lin Fan. My son, you will understand. In the past I turned away from my brother. Lin Xiaodai obediently followed the bird. Lin Fan picked up the bird. Infused the essence of palm with true energy into the body, penetrating the blood vessels, successfully drawing out the toxic blood, accompanied by a delicate sound. Lin Xiaodai swayed unsteadily. He immediately fell into a deep sleep. Lin Fan finally breathed a sigh of relief. There hadn't been any mishaps. After little sister wakes up, I'll take care of her for a while. Even though his tuberculosis has been cured, he then bites his finger and uses fresh blood to draw a talisman, which he places on Lin Xiudia's hand. With this talisman for protection, the average person cannot approach closely, and can withstand fatal injuries. Although everything seems to be going smoothly, but at the moment, there is a more difficult problem. That's all he has left, $100. If he doesn't earn more money soon, he and his sister will go hungry. And trying to turn over $100, for Lin Fan. Actually, it's not difficult at all, because cultivators can see through. His arrival is like a dragon entering the sea, but it's not to show off his skills. Yet he hasn't even entered the casino, being scorned by the door guard. A poor guy like you also dares to come here? But all are welcome. I won't stop you either. Enter the casino. The scent of money permeates everywhere here. There are even sexy dealers dealing cards online. Lin Fan's eyes lit up instantly. He planned to make a huge fortune, in the shortest time possible, and then let my sister live a princess's life. So we went to the liveliest. Dadagang just sat down, but unexpectedly, it caused displeasure in the man with the eye mask next to him. Not more than 10 people dared to sit in this position in the Magic City. Out of 10, I'll let it go because you're young and ignorant. I won't argue with you. Lin Fan glanced at him indifferently. Opened a pack of cigarettes casually, after exhaling smoke. Why? The man in the suit sitting across with a furrowed brow, then suddenly slammed the table and stood up. Because you're not qualified. When Lin Fan heard this, he clenched his fists tightly, then he relaxed them. Qualified? There isn't such a thing in this world. To be able to talk about qualifications in front of the Tao exterminating God Lord, the internal energy fluctuations emanating from him, moved an old man in the arena. It's my first time seeing such a young grandmaster. At this point, Lin Fan puts out the cigarette in her hand. What's your opinion? What does it take to qualify to play with you guys? The man with the eye mask said directly. Bring out 10 million. Go all in. Lin Fan shook his head. I don't. As soon as this was said, the whole room burst into laughter. He wouldn't be a fool, would he? Angering a few big shots. Will die without knowing how you died. The beautiful dealer's heart sighed deeply. This guy with wild ideas all day, shouldn't have let him in. Suddenly, the man with the eye mask slammed his palm on the table. Someone come here. Who brought this kid in? The manager immediately ran over. Please calm down, I'll handle this right away. Security, come quickly. There's a kid causing trouble inside. But before the words were done being spoken, the old man stepped forward. This young man is my invited guest. Is 30 million enough? This young man, who looks destitute, is actually under Wei's protection. The man with the eye patch immediately changed his attitude. Since you are Wei Lao's esteemed guest, let's have a few together. Lin Fan took the check directly. Thank you, sir. 30 million is still a bit short. I'll pay you back. The man with the eye patch solemnly swore. Deal. Arrogant kid. I will make you go bankrupt. Look at Lin Fan's expression. The dealer instantly became furious. Kid, Let you experience the wickedness of society. I'm going to tamper with the cards. Wei is the highest. You're second. You and Wei will be at each other's throats, and end up losing terribly. But she didn't know this trick. In the face of Lin Fan's perspective ability, it's like a decoration, and although Wei Lao got a flush, it's still the best hand in the game, but decisively chose to fold. The beautiful dealer is dumbfounded. The best hand now belongs to this police officer. What should I do? The man in the eyeshade scans the room. I definitely won't fold with such a good hand. It's up to you whether you dare to follow. After speaking, push out half of the chips in front of you. The man in the suit smirked coldly. What do you dare or not? Lin Fan knows his cards. So he chose to. But at this time, the blindfolded man suddenly made a move. I double. Lin Fan leisurely lights a cigarette. I also double. Now I don't have enough money. If I lose, I'll let you handle it. The man with the eye mask slightly smirks. Okay. You're quite ruthless. Then you can wait to be dealt with by me. I want to see your cards. The dealer looked at the cards of the two players, then looked guiltily at the man in the suit. Sorry, you lose. The man in the suit was so angry he almost cursed. What? I never expected that I, lousy, would be defeated by a wet behind theirs kid. The blindfolded man is still not convinced. I'll pay extra. Look at your cards, then turn over your cards. It's fate whether you live or die, and wealth is determined by the heavens. He never believed that he would lose to this brat. Lin Fan lays out his cards. Red color. Golden flower. You want to win with a pair of jacks? That's just wishful thinking. In this situation, the referee has no choice but to announce. 280 million belongs to Mr. Lin Fan. Lin Fan smiles triumphantly. I'm sorry, all the money is mine. The man in the eye mask is completely furious. You have a life to win, but do you have a life to spend? I guarantee you will die on the street tonight. But before he could finish his words, Wei Lao unexpectedly spoke up for Lin Fan. The loser has to accept their fate. Nobody is allowed to cause trouble here. The masked man dared not say anything more. The individual felt suffocated, while Lin Fan held a thick wad of money, skippingly runs over, and places it before Wei Lao. Old sir, this is the 30 million you borrowed from me. I am returning it to you. Wei handed over a business card. Young man, I appreciate you very much. If you need anything in the future, you can find me in Tiandu City. Lin Fan. Those who can live in the Tiandu City are all retired government cadres. Wei Lao nodded in satisfaction. Xiao Ning, take Mr. Lin home. Meanwhile, in a hospital. I can't stand this attitude. I'll call Brother Ning right away, and deal with this kid. Lin Qianqian praised beside. Honey, you're amazing. You must stand up for Qianqian. He brazenly pulled her into his arms. That's necessary. On the way home, Xiao Ning took the initiative to chat with Lin Fan. Wei Lao said that Mr. Lin is an expert. Let me learn from you. Lin Fan smiled and waved his hand. I dare not. Just a mere mortal. Right at this moment, Xiao Ning's phone rang. Brother got into a fight. You have to stand up for me. Xiao Ning, hold the steering wheel firmly. Who's the idiot? Dares to mess with my brother? I'll come find you in a bit. I'm feeling a little impatiently defiant. You'd better hurry up. I've brought some people and we're blocking this kid's house. I don't dare to go in yet, still a little hesitant to go in. Xiao Ning couldn't help but frown. What a disgrace. I happened to be driving in that direction. In no time, the sedan arrived at Lin Fan's doorstep, and I saw Lin Fan appear. Zhang Kuang is very excited. Today, I called the big brother. I won't stop until I knock you down. Lin Fan sighed helplessly. I'm telling you, aren't you annoyed? Yo, who is this ghost-like person? Terrible. What he said refers to the heavily made-up Lin Cece. What are you looking at me for? Lin Fan, you can just give up any hope on this. You are not worthy of me at all. At this moment, Xiao Ning also gets off the car. What happened? Zhang Kuang immediately pointed at Lin Fan. It's this kid. Knock him down for me. Hearing this, Xiao Ning seemed to understand. Are you going to beat? Before he finished speaking, Lin Fan interrupted and said, Don't rush. Let him finish talking. Zhang Kuang continued. I'll make you learn a lesson today. Aren't you very capable? Why did you become speechless? Can't speak now? Lin Qianqian walks up to Xiao Ning. This is Brother Ning, right? You are so handsome and charming. Lin Fan, take a look at yourself. Standing next to Ningge, you look exactly like a clown. Lin Fan picks his ear with his finger. Have you said enough? It's really noisy and irritating. Lin Cece smirked. Not enough. I still have more to say. It's your turn, Ningge. Ning immediately rolled up his sleeves. It's indeed time for me to take action. I can't hold back anymore. He laughed wildly. Ningge is about to exert his power, hit this stinky kid to death. But little Ning raised his hand, and a big slap landed on Zhang Kuang's arrogant face. Zhang Kuang fell to the ground. Ningge, I told you to hit this kid. Why are you hitting me? Xiao Ning said solemnly. Mr. Lin is a distinguished guest of Mr. Wei. What kind of person are you? I think you're fed up with living. Why don't you kneel down and apologize to Mr. Lin? As soon as these words were spoken, Lin Qianqian's legs went weak, and she collapsed to the ground. Lin Fan lightly smiled. Forget it. I'm not in the mood to argue with a mad dog. Just let him go. Xiao Ning glared fiercely at the arrogant. Get lost right now. Are you waiting for me to treat you to supper? Your arrogance has already scared you into sweating profusely. I'll leave immediately. At this moment, Xiaoning remembered that she had scolded Lin Fan earlier, so she quickly apologized. Mr. Lin, I didn't know it was you before. Lin Fan lightly replied. It's okay, you can go back. Don't sweat the small stuff. A solemn look flashes in Xiaoning's eyes. Adults have a broad mind. This broad-mindedness is truly admirable. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Lin Xiaodai immediately turned her head. She put down the brush in her hand, and ran towards Lin Fan. Lin Fan knew he had won 2 billion with just one move. Definitely offended quite a few, but even if it means being enemies with the whole world, wanting to protect the smile on my sister's face, Lin Fan then spent 40 million. Buy a villa in Xiaolong Mountain, and brought Lin Xiaodai to visit. Brother, is this the house we're going to live in the future? Lin Fan smiled and nodded. Of course. Suddenly, Lin Xiaodai stopped in her tracks. Brother, this villa must be very expensive, right? Let's not spend money randomly. Xiaodia's original place of residence was already good enough. Hearing such sensible words made Lin Fan's nose tingle. It's nothing now that Big Brother is making money. A villa is just a small matter. Lin Xiaodai asked, half believing and half doubting. Really? Lin Fan ruffled her little head. When has Big Brother ever lied to you? Now go to bed quickly. Watching his little sister's departing figure, Lin Fan secretly vowed in his heart that in this lifetime, I have someone to protect and cherish. I want to have no regrets in this lifetime. Those who often sleep with school beauties know they are already tired of extravagant living. Just want to find an honest person to take over. After preparing breakfast for his sister, Lin Fan hurriedly left. It turns out that he is a student of the Shanghai Medical University. Although there is no need to learn more knowledge, there's something about this school that can enhance one's cultivation, which he is very interested in. Suddenly Lin Fan stopped. Obviously he had arrived at the school gate, but at this moment, a professor called out to him, "Help me move." Thanks to the teaching assistant's classroom, Lin Fan's response was particularly concise. I'm busy. The professor was so angry that he was almost bald. I am a professor in your medical department. Asking for your help is giving face to you. But Lin Fan is still unmoved. You can move by yourself. Even the school principal thinks highly of Pingmu. You should treat yourself with the utmost courtesy. The professor decisively caught up, and rested on Lin Fan's shoulder. If you don't move today, you can count on being expelled. After finishing speaking, he immediately started to act. But to his surprise he was dodged by Lin Fan. The professor was so angry that he gritted his teeth. How dare you dodge? In the next instant, Lin Fan erupted with a terrifying aura. The professor let out a miserable scream and fell to the ground. Before leaving, Lin Fan severed one of his arms. A step away, and an immortal cultivator would be reduced to ashes. Crossing means death. I didn't kill you. It's already the greatest mercy to you. After saying these words, he swaggered off to the school campus. Following closely, Lin Fan knocked on the door of the academic affairs office. It turned out that in his past life, he had given up his studies because of Lin Qianqian, and was now reliving his life. You need to go through the procedure for returning to school. Director Chen looks very unhappy. What's the matter? Lin Fan handed over a document. The director glanced at it. You just applied for a leave of absence. Why did you change your mind in just a few days? Lin Fan smiled and was about to explain, but there was suddenly a commotion outside the door. Director Chen, students these days are just outrageous. When they saw the cast on his hand, Director Chen furrowed his brow. Professor Liang, how did this happen? How serious is the injury? Professor Liang angrily said. The students nowadays are like hooligans. They dare to assault teachers. Then Director Chen looked at Lin Fan. I have approved your application for readmission. Let's go to class first. But just as Lin Fan turned to leave, he was recognized by Professor Liang. Lin Fan looked innocent. Is there something, Professor? Professor Liang glared at him fiercely. I didn't expect you to take the initiative to come here. If I don't expel you this time, my surname is not Liang. Upon hearing this, Director Chen was quite surprised. Professor Liang, what are you doing? Professor Liang, turn on the talk mode immediately. Describe what happened at the school gate. For violent individuals like him, I suggest expelling him and blacklisting his record. How many years in prison? Director Chen has become a peacemaker. Young people are inevitably impulsive in their actions. Would an apology be enough? Lin Fan sneered. He's not even worthy of an apology from me. When these words were spoken, Professor Liang's anger was instantly ignited. Director Chen, don't use your official tone with me. I want him to leave the school right now. Director Chen sighed helplessly. Lin Fan, you physically assaulted a teacher. Considering it's your first offense, you are suspended for 1 year. Take your application and go home now. Miao Lin Fan slapped the desk hard, making the whole desk split into 4 pieces. Director Chen, I haven't agreed to your handling of this matter yet. Director Chen was trembling with fear, but he still plucked up the courage to speak. You're out of line. How dare you speak to the school leadership like that, even claiming it wasn't you? Even the principal doesn't dare to disrespect me in the slightest. Professor Liang adds fuel to the fire on the side. You kid! This is the first time I've seen you acting so arrogantly. Lin Fan gives a cold smile. You'll know in the future what a real Qizhong is. Now hurry up and complete my re-enrollment procedures. Director Chen directly refused. I'm telling you, you can't stay in this school for a day. Lin Fan took off his bag and left. Walking out of the school, he took out his phone immediately and called Wei's bodyguard Xiao Ning. Meanwhile in the principal's office, the principal was enjoying a wonderful moment under the desk, but suddenly a call came in. Who are you? At a critical moment, bad luck happens to me. He hadn't finished speaking yet, and suddenly, Wei Lao's voice came from that direction. Back to Lin Fan's side, he found the classroom based on his memory, the first to see it. It's my first love, Ji Xiaozhu. Unfortunately, in his past life, he was misled. He let down someone like her. Lin Fan warmly greeted her. Ju, I'm back. Hearing this familiar voice, Ji Xiao blushed. Then she threw herself into Lin Fan's arms, and held him tightly. But she never expected this heartwarming scene. Just happened to be seen by Ji Xiaozhu's suitor. Hua Hengxing immediately shouted. What are you doing? The onlookers immediately started to discuss. I didn't expect him to actually come to class. Lin Fan dares to compete with him for a girl. This is going to be an interesting show. Suddenly, Chu Hengxing aggressively steps forward, coming right in front of Lin Fan and Ji Xiaozhu. With such a posture, a fight seems imminent. But the next second, his attitude. Ji Xiaozhu, come out. I have something to tell you. Ji Xiaozhu got scared and hid behind Lin Fan. Just say it here. Who knew that Chu Hengxing disagreed, and reached out directly to grab her. The school flower of the prestigious MODU Medical University actually threw herself into the arms of a loser. The school bully was furious, approaching the school beauty directly, but before reaching her, she was pushed away by Lin Fan. Get lost. She's not a girl you can touch. Seeing Lin Fan is not easy to deal with, Chu Hengxing turned the spearhead towards Ji Xiaozhu. I like you because I respect you. If you really make me angry, I'll sell you to the cheapest place. Upon hearing this, Ji Xiaozhu trembled all over. Even her breathing became rapid. Lin Fan smiled softly. He looked at Ji Xiaozhu behind him. Don't worry, I'm here. These two are showing affection. Chu Hengxing was angered. Lin Fan glared at him. A terrifying pressure quietly released. But Chu Hengxing didn't care at all. You're quite defiant, kid. But what can you do to me? You trash, worthless. Hit me. Lin Fan remained silent. Chu Hengxing is getting more and more excessive. Come on, if you have the guts, try hitting me. Unable to bear it, Lin Fan had to give in to him. A flying kick, thrown tens of meters away. With a bang, it heavily hits the wall of the classroom. And now? Do you still think I can't deal with you? Chu Hengxing fell to the ground, holding his face in pain, screaming. I didn't expect this guy to be skilled too. He almost got the upper hand due to my carelessness. But next, you just wait for death. Just as he thought so, Lin Fan suddenly approached. Do you want to continue fighting? Chu Hengxing immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. I know I was wrong. A hint of fierceness flashed in Lin Fan's eyes. That won't work. Suddenly, Chu Hengxing's eyes turned red. He stood up straight and unleashed the burst star fist, but still haven't met Lin Fan, but instead received a heavy blow. Immediately after, Lin Fan grabs his head. A knee strike fiercely lands on his chest. Chu Hengxing immediately vomited. All out. It doesn't end here. Accompanied by the breaking of bones and heartbreaking screams, Lin Fan disabled his 5 limbs, then raised both hands above his head. Seeing this scene, Chu Hengxing hurriedly begged for mercy, but it was too late. There was only a loud bang. Hua Hengxing slowly fell down. I don't know if he's alive or dead. Ji Xiaozhu stepped forward and asked with concern. Lin Fan, are you all right? Lin Fan revealed a warm smile. It's okay, don't worry. Just at this moment, the voice of the class monitor Zhong Jingxian sounded. Did you go too hard? Chu's classmate's father is a high official. Even though he has fainted, If you apologize to him, the matter will be considered resolved. Lin Fan embraces Xiao Zhu Lu in his arms. What are you? Get lost. Zhong Jingxian was suddenly furious. All right, don't take me seriously at all. You are dead, kid. According to the following words, he walked away angrily. After a while, homeroom teacher Qin Jing walked into the classroom. What happened? Zhong Jingxian took the lead in reporting to the authorities. Lin Fan knocked your classmate unconscious. Upon hearing this, Qin Jing looked at Lin Fan. What on earth is going on? Lin Fan shrugged casually. I don't know, Zhong Jingxian continued. Lin Fan has a bad, violent and brutal personality. He almost killed a classmate. If you don't believe me, ask everyone. Qin Jing immediately did as told, asked other classmates. But they just glanced at Lin Fan, and were immediately killed by the alcohol on his body. Scared the hairs on end, Qin Jing sighed helplessly. Lin Fan, come to my office with me. I need to talk to you about something. Before you leave. Lin Fan deliberately passed by Zhong Jingxian. Goodbye, monitor. This blatant mockery really irritated Zhong Jingxian. Then he took out his phone. Call the school bully. As long as he's brave, the teacher will go on maternity leave. The bully only targets young teachers. He abandons them after they get pregnant. This person has a powerful background. Even the school can't do anything to him. Everyone knows Qin Jing is his next target. In the office, Qin Jing asks Lin Fan, how's your family doing now? How is Xiao Dai? Lin Fan. She can go. Is there something Qin Laoshe wants to see me about? Qin Jing suddenly blushed. You have to bear the cost of 2 tuition fees. It must be very difficult, right? The housing prices in Shanghai are very high. Even the rent is expensive. You don't have a place to live yet, do you? You might as well come to the teacher's house to stay first. Hearing this, Lin Fan suddenly remembered the Qin Jing from the previous life. She also took him in for a while. But now, he already had enough ability, and was about to refuse. But then the bell rang for class. Time suddenly became a bit awkward. Qin Jing hurriedly got up. I have to teach another class first. After school, come find me at this address. After saying this, she hurriedly left the office. Lin Fan is a bit puzzled. Forget it. We'll talk to her when Qin Jing is available. He had just left when she slipped into the office. After scanning the area, I found it empty here. Damn it, I'm late. But even if you escape, I can still find you. He took out a string of Buddhist beads, silently chanting a spell. The Buddhist beads quickly disintegrate and connect, soon outlining the projection of Lin Fan. Humph, is this guy? How dare you touch my woman? You're dead. As he spoke, he punched the projection to pieces, before retrieving the prayer beads. Then he came to Qin Jing's chair, and squatted down. He only sniffed the chair that the female teacher had sat on, but the man left saliva like a drunk person. It turns out he's a pervert. Once I catch a whiff of the other person's scent, I'll become extremely excited. On the other side, Lin Fan did not go home after school. Instead, he went to the library, because he had seen in the news in his previous life that a professor at a medical university had developed a certain potion. At the time, he didn't care, but now it seems it's something similar to the elixirs for cultivators. The spiritual energy of the world is thin now. If you can find the mysterious elixirs in the academy, your cultivation will definitely advance rapidly. Just when Lin Fan was planning, Ji Xiaoyu suddenly appeared. Did Teacher Qin just look for you? Lin Fan scratched his head awkwardly. He casually came up with a reason to dodge the question. This is the scene of their conversation. Just got spotted by Qiu Hengxing's lackey. Shen, this guy has a nerve. He dares to steal a girl from Vice President Qiu. It was his sneak attack that defeated Qiu Lauda. When you make a move, definitely beat him into a sorry state. The big guy smirked coldly. Just a small fry. I can crush him with one hand. Then I saw him swiftly approaching Lin Fan from behind. I was about to take drastic action, but Lin Fan grabbed my wrist. Stop it. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude, even though my arm was throbbing with heat. But the big guy still shouted with a stiff neck. I just want to see how rude you can be. Go to hell. He suddenly raised his other arm, planning to throw an elbow, but Lin Fan reacts quickly. He effortlessly dodges to the side. The big guy loses his balance as a result. He almost falls flat on his face. Lin Fan turns his head, looking completely incredulous. You are welcome to greet him. But it was Lin Fan's heavy punch. The big guy was blasted out, spinning 2 full circles. Lin Fan casually shook his hand, then looked at Chang Mao. Really noisy. What about you? Chang Mao immediately helped big guy up, and quickly fled the scene of trouble. Lin Fan sighed helplessly. Zi's mood was ruined again. Shi Xiaoyu couldn't help asking, how did you become so powerful? Lin Fan gave himself a thumbs up. I used to be Loki. Ji Xiaowu was amused and laughed. Shall we have a meal together later? I just realized I have to meet Qin Jing later. Lin Fan did not agree. Ji Xiaowu let out a disappointed sigh. Lin Fan really couldn't bear to see this, so he grabbed her hand. I'm free tomorrow. How about treating the beauty to dinner? Ji Xiaoju's face blushed instantly. She started to punch with her pink fist. The scene changed. Lin Fan arrived at the address on the note, and stood downstairs at Qin Jing's house. Ring the doorbell. Qin Jing, wearing an apron, opens the door. Please have a seat. The meal will be ready soon. Admiring her graceful figure, Lin Fan remembered before. Only she took care of herself and Xiao Dai. But suddenly one day, she actually jumped from the top of the economic and trade building. In the end, the police were unable to do anything. Can only be treated as an ordinary suicide case. In this life, he will never let this happen. Suddenly, Qin Jing's call brought Lin Fan back to reality. Don't just stand there. Come and have dinner. At the dinner table, Qin Jing asked Lin Fan, what do you think of my suggestion? Lin Fan grinned. I recently found a job. The boss assigned me an employee dormitory. After dinner, Lin Fan waved to Qin Jing. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. Qin Jing seems a little reluctant. Why don't I walk you home? Consider it a walk to digest. They arrived at a nearby park. But Qin Jing kept her head down. Looks like there's something on your mind. Suddenly, there was a sound coming from the bushes beside. It turns out there was a living person hiding inside. Lin Fan immediately became aware of this. Sneaky stuff. Roll out for me. Seeing no response from the other side, Lin Fan squatted down and picked up a rock, and hurled it fiercely. Self-singing hit on the buttocks. Instantly bounced out. Just happened to fall at Lin Fan's feet. First meeting. Why make such a big gesture? Get up, hurry up. Ziga immediately got up. Kid, you've got guts. No wonder that kid from the Chu family fell into your hands. Qin Jing trembled in fear. What are you doing here? Ziga snorted coldly, and showed a distorted expression. Of course, I came to find you. I didn't expect you to pick a fight. You're really thirsty. Qin Jing panicked and turned her head. Lin Fan, hurry up, run. He has held Lin Fan's neck since the song. Teacher Qin, come over here and comfort me now. And I'll let this kid go. Do you hear me? Ha! But the next moment, Lin Fan disappeared out of thin air and held Qin Jing's hand. Let's go. I'll take you to a fun place. All the fools are singing, without a clue of what's happening. Quick to get angry with shame, sneaking up behind Lin Fan. How dare you ignore me? Go to hell. At this critical moment, Lin Fan moved, and slapped him hard, sending him flying, hitting and breaking the utility pole at the roadside. But Zishi didn't recognize you. The whole medical university. I'm afraid no one is your match. Unfortunately, you've met me. As the words fell, he drops blood onto the prayer beads. Lin Fan's pupils slightly contracted. This guy unexpectedly possesses a magical instrument. Self-Song seems to have a firm grip on victory, continuously emitting a sinister laugh from his mouth. With a crackling sound, countless souls drill out from the Buddha beads. Go to hell, Lin Fan, accompanied by the violent shout of his own singing, like 1,000 arrows piercing the heart. They stab into Lin Fan's body. Those possessed by ghosts all know to put a coin under the pillow when sleeping. Otherwise death is certain. The young man before his eyes not only did not think of this as superstition. It turns out he is not an ordinary person, but the rebirth of the emperor. Watching Lin Fan being hit by the ghost fire from Gujia's strange laughter, you should know about the 9 ghost prayer beads, which were a gift from his ancestor. Feeding them with his essence can summon ghostly fire. He relies on this method. He has already killed numerous experts in the body refining realm, so in his view, Lin Fan is definitely doomed this time. What he didn't expect is, Lin Fan is not only unscathed, conjuring up a Dharma body, crushing all the ghostly fires. What a disappointment. You dare to think of killing the soul of an immortal? Who made you so arrogant? He angrily sang with bulging neck veins. How is this possible? In an instant he transformed into a red lightning bolt, and once again struck towards Lin Fan. But Lin Fan didn't care at all. He lightly flicked his fingers, and countless blue flames emerged from his body. Let you witness the true power. In an instant, the room is surrounded by flames. Why? Can you control the flames that are stronger than me? Lin Fan coldly smiles. The dying don't need to know so much. Goodbye. As he finished speaking, he pointed his finger. The song was a cry of despair and helplessness, but he could only watch the house burning helplessly, swallow oneself up entirely. But Lin Fan couldn't even be bothered to look at him. He walked directly to Nikuji Nenju, and picked it up. The depleted earth. It is not easy to obtain a magical instrument. Although it's a bit lacking, It's better than nothing. In order to dispel Qin Jing's concerns, Lin Fan explained that it was just a magic trick. Teacher Qin, you don't need to send it. I'm leaving. Watching Lin Fan's departing figure, Qin Jing's heart was pounding incessantly. Lin Fan, what are you really? Back to Manhwa Villa. Lin Fan unexpectedly found the light in her room was still on, so she pushed the door open. Xiao Dai hasn't slept yet? Lin Xiao Dai rubbed her eyes. I'm waiting for my brother to come back. Lin Fan patted her head. Silly girl, go to sleep. Oh. Then she left in a daze, but almost stumbled when going upstairs. She breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Fan then relaxed. But Lin Xiao Dai poked her head out. Hey bro, there's a class gathering next week. Can I? Lin Fan interrupted with a smile. If you want to go, then go. Lin Xiao Dai immediately cheered. Yes, hooray! In the late night, Lin Fan sat cross-legged, and began to refine the rosary. Sure enough, as he expected, there is a spirit in the pearl. So Mingming, who hasn't cultivated his energy yet, can still use spells. In the world of cultivators, which is divided into Qi refining, foundation building, condensing yuan, and opening orifice, shattered, combined, and formed the 9 realms. The 9 realms are divided by the realm of immortal ranking. Above the realm of immortal ranking is the realm of immortality. Lin Fan has already reached the combined realm. His name is renowned throughout the 3,000 worlds. With his self-created Dian Taoist method, he defeated all his opponents. He has had an unbeaten record in the entire immortal realm, respected as the emperor by other immortals. He is known as the first emperor of all time. However, after obtaining the 9 heavens divine stone, encountering other immortal sovereigns joining forces to attack and seize, finally, at the peak of the immortal sovereigns, he could only fight alone. That battle shattered the heavenly Tao. Amidst the desperate situation, he unexpectedly evolved the Dian Taoism to the extreme. Such power resulted in the enemies being dragged into Lin Fan's immortal realm. The 36 immortal venerables all perished. After that battle, half the immortal realm turned into a dead zone, and he also perished in the ensuing heavenly punishment, becoming the present Lin Fan. In this life, he swears to cultivate each realm to the extreme, and then return to the immortal realm, and his first step to rise again is to rely on these spirits running around the room. Lin Fan no longer hesitated, immediately began to calculate with his fingers. The next second, the aura is controlled, and quickly enters his body. When Lin Fan opens his eyes again, he has successfully entered the Qi practicing realm. Before, he was too busy dealing with other people. The technique in the God Stone of the Eastern 9 Heavens. In this lifetime, he is determined to thoroughly master it. After half an hour, even though Lin Fan was panting heavily, he still burst out laughing maniacally. What a powerful technique! Obtaining this immortal technique, I can roam freely across the world. Meanwhile, in a dark space, a long-haired old man is practicing cultivation. Suddenly he is startled, and coughs up a mouthful of blood. What's going on here? The breath of the prayer beads disappeared. Damn it! Who dares to kill my grandson? I will kill his whole family. As the conversation ends, he grabs the skull on the ground, then claps his hands together. In the next instant, the skull flies out as if it were alive. The songbird is killed and the magical object is destroyed. I swear not to live as a human if I don't avenge this grudge. The next day, Lin Fan returned to school, but he always looked heavy-hearted, because he knew that the person was not an ordinary person. From now on, I'm afraid more troublesome characters will appear. Just as Lin Fan was dazed, Ji Xiaoru suddenly walked over and greeted him warmly. Watching the scene of the two people laughing and talking, Zhong Jingxian suddenly became inexplicably angry. Why does he have nothing to worry about? Did Baiga make a mistake? Chang Ma was mocking on the side as we dealt with someone yesterday, but unexpectedly, he got the better of us. He ended up immobilizing us with his acupoint techniques. We had to stand in the library all night in agony, even though we had practiced martial arts, and had previously pretended to be weak. Every time we always show respect. But these days things are different. Even dared to pursue the goddess. With this guy around, you can't get close to the goddess, Monitor. Why don't we find an opportunity to wait until Ji Xiaoru is alone, and then we'll tie her up. By then, she'll only be able to be your Zhong Jingxian, with a smirk. This Lin Fan is too annoying. So what if he can fight? We'll sleep with his girl first. Let's see if he's still arrogant. At this moment, Ji Xiaozu poked Lin Fan. You haven't forgotten what I said before, have you? Lin Fan shook his head. Your family runs a restaurant, right? Let's go to your place. Upon hearing this, suddenly became tense, but eventually agreed. It turns out that Ji Xiaoju's parents warned Lin Fan before to stay away from Ji Xiaoju. The reason is that he is too poor. He's simply not good enough for their daughter. But now, Everything has changed. After school, the two arrived at Ji Xiaozhu's family restaurant. As soon as Ji's mother saw Lin Fan, she frowned deeply. She even pulled Ji Xiaozhu into a corner. Didn't I tell you to have less contact with him? Why did you bring him home? Ji Xiaozhu seems a bit aggrieved. Lin Fan and I are just friends. He's a really nice person, Mother Ji warned. Mom, don't associate with him. Mom is doing this for your own good. Ji Xiaozhu sighed helplessly. I know. But Ji's mother still didn't let it go. Although we are not from a wealthy family, we are not someone that just anyone can enter. Ji Xiaozhu really can't take it anymore. If you continue like this, I will get angry. And the next second, suddenly, the roar of a motorcycle came from outside the house. The gangsters immediately picked up their weapons and started smashing the door of the shop recklessly. Onlookers all stepped back. Otherwise, I'll slaughter all of you together. Once these words were spoken, the customers scattered in fear. Kalk's father, upon hearing the commotion, quickly descended from the second floor. Wang Long at the head smirked. Boss Ji, your business is doing well, huh? When are you going to pay us back the money you owe? Mr. Ji hurriedly waves his hand. Brother Long, let me explain. I don't have any money right now. How much longer do you want to delay? You haven't finished speaking yet. Then Wang Long grabbed his throat. Ha! Daring to owe money to me, Wang Long, and not paying back. Don't you want to keep your life? Guys, this old guy doesn't want to return our money. What do you think we should do? Gramps almost unable to breathe. Brother Long, listen to me. Just give me a little more time to see this scene. Ji Xiaozhu and her mother are completely panicked. Oh, your wife and daughter are so beautiful. It's a pity to leave them to you. Hand them over to me, and I'll give you a few days' grace. Hurry up and shout. You guys go quickly. Wang Long thinks he's too noisy. Just throw him out. Then show your lasciviousness. Looking at the mother and daughter of the Ji family, little beauty, come here. Just as his clutches were getting closer, but suddenly, a hand stopped him. Now kneel down and express your joy. I can spare you. Wang Long suddenly broke free. What are you daring to speak to me like this? Lin Fan said coldly. You are not qualified to know. Wang Long burst into laughter immediately. All right, do you like pretending in front of me? After saying that, he picked up a beer bottle. He didn't say a word and stabbed it over, but before it touched, it was shattered by Lin Fan barehanded. All the glass shards stuck to Wang Long's face. He instantly screamed in pain. Shanji, kill that kid for me. Shanji immediately responded. Put on the finger tiger, in the blink of an eye. Attack towards Lin Fan, but Lin Fan doesn't dodge or evade, allowing the opponent's attack to land, because he only uses one index finger to easily withstand. Shockingly unparalleled wayward chicken. How is this possible? Immediately followed by Lin Fan's mind bursting, he was sent flying and fell to the ground. Shake the tree. Such ignorance. Seeing his little brother being bullied, Wang Long was thoroughly enraged. Acting in front of me. You dare to beat up someone of mine like this? I will break you. He then pulled out a handgun and decisively pulled the trigger. Bullets are flying towards Lin Fan at high speed. In a critical moment, Lin Fan dodges with a shift. Then he suddenly kicks and moves quickly, firmly pressing Wang Long's mouth. What are you exactly? I roam the world. I have never heard of anyone who can dodge bullets, Lin Fan said lightly. Whether I am human doesn't matter. Just know that in front of me, you're just like an ant. As he spoke, the force in his hand kept increasing. Suddenly, Lin Fan's gaze fell on the pheasant behind. What are you stunned for? Apologize on your knees. The pheasant and his little brother immediately complied, and kowtowed 3 times to apologize. I'm really sorry. Lin Fan gave Mr. Ji a casual glance. If we gamble again in the future, it will be over. With a thud, Wang Long was heavily slammed to the ground. Roll away. You are not allowed in here anymore. Otherwise, your life will be in danger. After leaving the restaurant, I happened to run into Zhong Jingxian. What are you doing here, Shizhong? Zhong Jingxian smirked slyly. Aren't I just finding beautiful women for you? So, this fearless bastard snatched the woman away. Hearing this, Wang Long immediately thought of Lin Fan. What you're saying, could it be the guy from the restaurant just now? The one with the hairstyle? Zhong Jingxian quickly responded. Ah yes, it's that guy. The next second, Dabiadu rushed over. Zhong Jingxian fell to the ground. I don't know you. Get the hell out of here. After saying these 2 sentences, Wang Long flew away quickly. Just at that moment, this is not good. Zhong Jingxian turned his head abruptly. What's wrong? Mao pointed his finger towards Lin Fan not far away. That guy is coming. After speaking, he grabbed the still haggling Zhong, disappeared at the end of the street. Lin Fan was about to go after her, when his phone suddenly rang. It was Xiao Ning calling. His friend had a strange illness. No matter how the experts diagnosed it at home or abroad, no improvement at all. So I want to ask Lin Fan for help. Lin Fan smiled lightly. It seems that Wei Lao wants to test the depth of my knowledge. Since that's the case, I agreed. Come pick me up. Soon, a black sedan quickly pulled up. Lin Fan got into the back seat directly. Xiao Ning was puzzled. Don't you need to bring any tools? Lin Fan shook his head. No need, let's go. 10 minutes later, the two arrived at a villa. Just walked in. I saw an old man gasping for breath, lying in bed with tubes all over his body. Lin Fan glanced casually. I'll go check the minor issues, but was stopped by the attending doctor. Where did this insolent kid come from? I told you to stop. Did you hear me? Lin Fan didn't say a word, and directly threw a heavy punch. Knock him down and throw him on the ground. Roll aside. Get out of the way, then come to the bedside. If I were one step later, it's too late to save him now, but it's not a big problem at the moment. After he finished speaking, he suddenly raised his hand and delivered a burst of energy to Jean Lao's body. The heart rate monitor quickly flatlined. The martial arts master immediately shouted, Mr. Jean has been killed. Hearing this, the bodyguards outside rushed in hastily and surrounded Lin Fan with their guns. However, in the next moment, something unexpected happened. Jean suddenly sat up from the bed and began to cough violently, followed by, the heart rate monitor is beeping again. The attending physician was dumbfounded. How is this possible? Mr. Jin's heart rate has returned to normal. Lin Fan sighed helplessly. It seems that you don't trust me very much. Then forget it. This person and I are not destined. I won't save him. He turned around and was about to leave. I hear an urgent voice. Dr. Lin, please wait. We've been blind to what's been going on. Please, you must save my father. Lin Fan said calmly. I said, do not save. Jean Dashao knelt down with a thud. Just now, my Jean family was blind, neglecting the divine doctor. Blame it on me. Do what the doctor says. I won't have a word of complaint. I just hope the doctor can save my father. No one ever expected the top tax in the capital will actually kneel down to a person. In the end, Lin Fan was also moved to show his subtle feelings. Since you've done this, I will remember your filial piety. I won't argue with you. Get up. But at that moment, another doctor walked in. Sorry I'm late. How is Mr. Jean? Huang Mao was instantly overjoyed. Dr. Liang, you finally came. There's a poor country boy here, who almost killed Mr. Jean. When Mr. Liang saw Lin Fan, he directly dropped the medicine box, and tightly grasped his hand. Master Lin, meeting you here is my honor. Once this was said, Huang Mao's eyes almost popped out. Lin Fan was very puzzled. Who are you? Doctor self-reports his name. I am Liang Guodong. Mr. Wei has already introduced you to me. Lin Fan smiled knowingly. Then he rolled up his sleeves. Now let's start the rescue. You assist me. But suddenly he stopped. Right. Please ask the two incompetent doctors to leave. The bodyguards immediately restrained them, gently escorted them out. Then Lin Fan looked at Jean Dashao. Let the others leave as well. Jean Dashao waved his hand. Wait until all the bodyguards have left. The healing process has just begun. Please help me press firmly. On his acupoints Juk and Zhongwan, Liang Guodong didn't even ask for the reason. He just went ahead and did it. Lin Fan clenched his teeth and fiercely smashed his fist down. The next second, Jean Lao suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood, and his body started to shake wildly. Liang Guodong was in a hurry. He can hardly hold his hand back. Lin Fan shouted. Don't get distracted. Hold it down. After finishing speaking, there was a violent output, forcing the black substance out of Jean Lao's body. It's right now. Quickly let go. Jean Lao coughed up blood again. Even his body is bent at a right angle, as he continuously emits demonic energy. Liang Guodong is very puzzled. Lin Fan explained. His illness is caused by evil energy. The evil energy has now dispersed. Mr. Jean should be okay. Sure enough. At this moment, Mr. Jean opens his eyes and regains his former vigor and spirit. He looked at Liang Guodong in surprise. Did this divine doctor save me? Liang Guodong shook his head. It was Master Lin who saved you. I was just assisting. Jean suddenly shed tears from the corners of his eyes. I, Jean Baiyun, thank you, kind sir. In the future, if sir has any needs, please feel free to ask. Lin Fan slightly nodded. How do you feel now? Jean Lao, I just felt it slightly. I just feel a little back pain. After saying that, he suddenly looked at his son. Bring that over. Young Master Dai handed a card over. Dr. Lin, here is 1 billion. Please accept it. Hearing this amount, everyone present was dumbfounded. Lin Fan directly refused. I only take spiritual herbs or artifacts. If you have information on them, Then come and tell me. It seems Jean Lao thought of something. I was invited to participate in an auction before, but it was delayed due to illness. I heard it was organized by a feng shui master from the north. It's very high level. Yuan Dong Wang will also participate. There are rumors that this person possesses extraordinary divine powers, and once changed the destiny of a prominent family, turning their fortune around from the brink of bankruptcy to a remarkable recovery. Lin Fan gives a wry smile. When will the auction be held? Mr. Jean said solemnly. I will closely monitor. As soon as I get the time, I will notify you immediately. By the way, I will host a banquet at the Dynasty Club Hotel tonight. Master Lin, please. But Lin Fan just turned around directly. I have something to attend to and must leave. Xiao Ning followed closely behind. The two of them left the villa together. Thanks to Master Lin for helping. I should thank Master Lin by paying a visit. When I got home, Lin Fan opened the door, and was taken aback. Xiao Dai is wearing an evening dress. She looks like a little adult. Lin Fan smiles happily. I'll go make dinner for you. Xiao Dai pouts unhappily. Stupid brother. I'm going to a classmate gathering tonight. Lin Fan awkwardly scratched his head. He actually forgot about this. Brother, come with me. Otherwise, it's too pitiful for someone to be home alone. In response to his sister's request, Lin Fan naturally couldn't bear to refuse. Lin Xiaodai happily danced with joy. Big brother is the best. Meanwhile, a sports car is speeding along the road. When are we going to the Dynasty Club Hotel? Don't you have a classmate named Lin Xiaodai? Let's go pick her up. Yin Shiheng couldn't help but roll his eyes. She's just from a poor slum. Why does she have to participate? Chen Yiluan thought to himself. Such a beautiful girl is still a piece of uncut jade. I naturally need to personally uncover it. Soon, a few people arrived at Lin Fan's house. Huiqing, the Lin Xiaodai you mentioned, lives in a place like this? Yan Huiqing was stunned for a while. The address she gave me is here. But this is a villa area. At this moment, Lin Fan and Lin Xiaodai walked out. How did you get here? This is a villa area, you know? Upon hearing this remark, Lin Xiaodia's eyebrows twitched. This is my home. My brother and I moved here, Yin Huiqing said mysteriously. Don't you tell me. You suddenly won the lottery. Can afford to buy a villa. Lin Xiaodai stuck out her tongue. I don't need to buy lottery tickets. I have a big brother. At this moment, Chen Yiluan suddenly spoke. Okay, I won't talk about this. I am Yin Huiqing's brother. Can afford to live in a place like this. Can't not have your own car, right? Lin Fan smiled lightly. There's not much fun in driving a sports car. I see that your car still has space, right? I'll just ride with you. Yin Huiqing is anxious. I can see that you don't actually live here. You're just pretending in front of us. Lin Fan, be indifferent. Just take it as it is. Can we go now? Chen Yiluan took over his words. You guys get on the car. The scene changes. The crowd arrives at the Dynasty Club Hotel. Mr. Chen, you're here. Please come in. Chen Yiluan gestured with his eyes. The bodyguard immediately stopped Lin Fan. This is a high-end hotel. Please show your identification. Lin Fan pointed at Chen Yiluan with his finger. So, we came together. The bodyguard sneered. So it's Chen Dashao's lackey. Go in. Lin Fan felt speechless. This kid is making things difficult for me everywhere. If today wasn't Xiaodia's big day. Hee. Chen Yiluan raises his glass in the private room. Thanks everyone for taking care of my sister. But when Lin Fan sees the alcohol, he suddenly starts laughing. Chen Yiluan seemed a little flustered. What are you laughing at? Lin Fan said casually. It's nothing, carry on. Suddenly, Lin Xiaodai leaned over. Brother, I can't drink. Yin Huiqing immediately shouted. What do you mean? Are you trying to embarrass everyone? Lin Xiaodai snorted. I never said I don't drink. Chen Yiluan explained. This is actually a beverage. You can drink it at ease. It's okay, Xiaodai. As long as it's like this, I can drink. Saying this, Lin Fan extended a finger. He drew a line in front of her glass. This Chen Yiluan is really no good. He actually spiked the drink with drugs. It seems that this class reunion is not that simple. However, a mere elixir has no effect on me at all. Let's see how I deal with you. Lin Fan didn't hesitate, and drank the wine at the same time as Lin Xiaodai. But he didn't know that a group of thugs was approaching outside the door. Qingge is really our lucky star. There are about 10 young girls in there. They are all very pretty, especially that Lin Xiaodai. It would be great if she could be my girlfriend. Hey, stop dreaming. That's the girl Chen likes. Seeing this scene, Chen Yiluan finally reveals his true colors, but Yin Huiqing frowned slightly. This is my last time doing this for you. Chen Yiluan smiled lightly. After finishing this, brother will help you with the procedures for studying abroad. He was seen clapping his hands. The gang immediately pushed the door and entered. Brother Chen, you made us wait for a long time. Chen Yiluan had a lecherous grin on his face. Everyone is drunk. Let's start our multi-person party. Finishing speaking, he reached out with his magic claws, continuously approaching Lin Xiaodai, yet the next second, his wrist was firmly held. Want to touch my sister? Shouldn't you ask me first? I've always felt that you're not simple, but I never expected you'd stoop to such a level. Chen Yiluan panicked suddenly. This is impossible. How are you okay? Suddenly Lin Xiaodai stood up. You guys are really despicable. I considered you all good friends, but I really misjudged you. Chen Yiluan forcefully pushed away Lin Fan. Even if you weren't enchanted, what else can you do? I will bully your sister in front of you. I really want to see what kind of expression she would make. Lin Fan can't be bothered to continue the nonsense. He asked Lin Xiaodai to cover her eyes, and then began a personal performance. In less than a minute, all the hooligans were knocked to the ground. Chen Yiluan was shocked like never before. What are you exactly? Before he could finish his sentence, he felt a tightness in his crotch. He was in so much pain that he kept rolling on the ground. Howled loudly. Follow closely. Lin Fan stepped on his head. You like to tease women, don't you? Then I'll turn you into a woman. Experience the taste of a woman well. Chen Yiluan cried and shouted. I won't let you go. My father is Ching Deming. Lin Fan pretended to be surprised. Sorry. Don't know. Finished speaking, followed by a fierce kick. It landed on Chen Yiluan's crotch. The sound of a pig being slaughtered echoed, and he fell into a coma. At this moment, Lin Fan looked at Yin Huiqing. As for you, how should I handle this? Yin Huiqing shuddered suddenly. Please let me follow you. I'll be your little sister, Lin Fan said lightly. At such a young age you're so ruthless. Your future is boundless. What a shame. If I were a member of the evil sect, I'd be more than willing to take you as my disciple. Bang! Lin Fan knocked him out with a palm strike. Then he took out his phone. Xiao Ning, I'm at the Imperial Dynasty Hotel. Come here, to tell you something. Lin Xiaodai pulled her brother. Why are they so mean? Lin Fan held her little hand. Xiaodai, you must remember, people have both good and evil within them. They, perhaps, are just born evil. Lin Xiaodai immediately blurted out. That brother must be naturally great. Lin Fan was stunned for a moment, and muttered to himself. Am I really a good person? Arrived at the hotel entrance, Lin Fan saw a familiar figure. It was Ji Xiaozhu, who left in a hurry, just as he was about to catch up, and ask what had happened. Lin Xiaodai interrupted him. What's wrong, big brother? Lin Fan smiled lightly. It's okay, let's go. I'll cook something delicious for you at home. A moment later, Xiao Ning arrived at the hotel with his subordinates. He pushed open the door of the private room, and saw a group of people lying on the ground. Such heavy-handedness. What's going on? Suddenly, one of the henchmen roared. It seems to be Chen Deming's son. Hearing this, Xiao Ning couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Lin Fan, you've really stirred up a big trouble this time. Hastily, he walked outside the private room, and made a phone call to Wei Lao. Lin Fan crippled Chen Deming's son. And it looks like the injuries are very serious. Wei Lao's heart tightened instantly, and put down the teacup in his hand. Brother, let's do it this way today. I have to leave for something. The bald old man asked with a smile. Is something big happening? Is your granddaughter running away from marriage again? Mr. Wei frowned. A little friend I made before is quite capable, but this time he's in big trouble. Another curly old man asked in confusion, in front of us old guys. What else could be considered troublesome? Mr. Wei said solemnly. He crippled Chen Deming's son. As soon as these words were spoken, both of the old men were startled. What's your relationship with that kid? If it's not too close, then you shouldn't get involved in this matter. Wei Lao sighed deeply. I know how to handle this matter. Lin Fan, this time, I'm afraid I have to help you out. But it's also a good opportunity to see how much skill you still have. Right at this moment, Chen Deming suddenly called. You know about my son, don't you? I want to sink that Lin Fan to the bottom of the river to feed the fish. Please, Wei Lao, do not get involved in this. If you participate, don't blame me for being rude. After saying that, hang up the phone directly. Wei Lao gnashed his teeth in anger. Chen Deming, you asked for it. Are you really going to do whatever you want? I have made up my mind about this. Seeing that he's made a decision, the two old men no longer advise each other after they leave. Wei Lao is feeling worried. I don't know if I can handle it this time. Lin Fan, I did not read you wrong.